What is going on, people? Joey talks boxing. Want to talk about this KSI and Tommy Fury, Logan Paul, Dylan Dennis, all this kind of crossover boxing. And is it good for the sport? Is it bad for the sport? I saw Tony Bellew. He said it's not bad for the sport. How could it be bad for the sport? These guys are making money, and it's not taking away from pro boxers' pay. And it's getting a lot of new young fans into the sport. He was basically saying it's a good thing. It can only be good. It's not a bad thing. And I totally disagree. I think this is a very bad thing for the sport. I think that this is taking away from a lot of the top level boxing. And what's happening is a lot of people's thirst for boxing is being quenched and salivated by people like KSI and people like Tommy Fury. This KSI-Tommy Fury fight, I believe, made more money than any of the Wilder and Fury fights. I think it made more money than the Spence and Crawford fight. And you could say they're two unrelated things, but I don't think they are, because I think that a person who's young and trying to get into boxing, if they see this, they're not going to care about Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence. They're not going to care about Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury. They might care about Gervonta Davis and Ryan Garcia, because Ryan Garcia has a Instagram and TikTok history, a profile in that. And Gervonta Davis also is, kind of resonates well with the youth, but they're not going to care about high-level, top-level boxing. And I'm afraid that we're going down a path where it's just going to be crossover fights. It's just going to be gimmick fights, and we're not going to get the big-time content. And this all started with Mayweather and McGregor that ushered in a whole era of nonsense fights that should not be in there. And this is hurting boxing, and it's hurting MMA, because MMA, I think, has the same problem. And I think boxing and MMA, they're not doing well enough where they can survive. And you see, that's why these fights are happening. And that's why they did Mayweather and McGregor, because neither sport was doing that well. Because if a sport's doing well enough, you don't have to do cross matches. They don't have to do Ronaldo versus LeBron, or whatever, Tiger Woods versus Djokovic. Like, you don't have to do that, because those sports are doing well on their own. But boxing and MMA are not doing well on their own. And I think the problem is that when it comes to YouTube celebrities like KSI, Logan Paul, Jake Paul, these vloggers, or whatever they do, people are so invested in their life that they will watch what they do no matter what. Whereas 30 years ago, a big celebrity, Michael Jackson or Prince or Tom Cruise, I don't think they would have cared if Tom Cruise fought Sugar Ray Leonard in a boxing match. It would have been like, okay, like, what's the point? Like, you're an actor. Oh, Michael Jackson, you're a singer. Like, you had very clear roles. Now it's like, what is Jake Paul? What is Logan Paul? What is KSI? What are any of these people? They're people that a kid likes, and they want to be a part of the journey. So I think some of what the top-level boxers lack, these guys like Jake Paul, Jake Paul, Logan Paul, and KSI do well, and they have the personality and the narrative that some of these top-level boxers lack. While they don't have the same skill in boxing, they have this, and this is what sells fights more than skill. And you see it, because if skill sold, Terrence Crawford would be the #1 boxer in the world. If skill sold, Usyk would be bigger than, all these dudes. But it's not about skill. It's about narrative, and I think that this type of boxing is damaging to the sport. Eddie Hearn had said that originally. Now he's kind of retracted and made some money with some of these guys and said, no, this is different, but this is different, but it's different with this. Once you let it in, the floodgates are wide open. And I think that this could potentially damage boxing a lot. Now, I don't know how long this is going to last, because it could just be a fad. But if this is a long-term thing, we are in trouble, hardcore boxing fans. And that's my take on it. I think it is damaging to the sport. I think it does hurt some of it. I saw Stephen A. Smith say that. And Max Kellerman defended it, saying it doesn't hurt the sport. I disagree with Max Kellerman. I agree with Stephen A. Because when you have this type of stuff, it salivates the desire for some people, and it takes away from these, mainstream boxers. Now, when you say who's your favorite boxer, someone's going to say Logan Paul, Jake Paul, KSI. 40 years ago, who was your favorite boxer? Oh, Sugar Ray Leonard, Tommy Hearns, Roberto Duran, Marvin Hagler, Larry Holmes, Jerry Cooney. it's just different, man. Now, if I told someone, I remember I was speaking to someone a few years ago. I said, I was talking about how I could beat him in a boxing match, and the guy's like, "What makes you such a good boxer?" And I said, "I'm not saying I could beat Terrence Crawford. I'm just saying I could beat you." The guy asked me, "Who's Terrence Crawford?" I said, "Who's Terrence Crawford?" Terrence Crawford's the best boxer in the world. He didn't even know who he was, but I bet you he knows who Jake Paul is now. So this is hurting the sport. I think that MMA has hurt boxing somewhat, but I think this cross celebrity boxing, whatever you want to call it, has hurt boxing and it's hurt MMA. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys think it's bad for the sport of boxing? Or is anything that's getting people to watch boxing at all good for boxing? Let me know what you guys think. Please like, share, comment, subscribe. Peace.